Thank you. Thanks, Miles.
We're recording.
All right, so we're recording. Welcome, everybody, to the fifth Vegan Collective Intelligence meeting. It is December 3rd, and we've already kind of started giving updates. We're going around in a circle giving updates about what we've been working on this week. And Miles, you're up next.
Okay, well, thanks, Benjamin, and hello, everybody. My name is Miles Flegg. I'm calling in from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, also known by some Indigenous names. Mohkinstsis is one name of the Blackfoot Confederacy. The Siksika people refer to it as Mohkinstsis, and you can also just point to your elbow if you say, if somebody asks your signs to you, where are you going? And if you're coming to Calgary, you can just point to your elbow. I'm happy to be participating here on the Vegan Collective Intelligence Social Club because I find this makes the most sense to me as an immediate, effective solution to what is ailing our planet, our Mother Earth, creating this climate emergency, and I promote it every opportunity I can. I am, however, to be honest with you, I'm very new to this concept of eating. Great challenge for me because I'm the only one really, well, no, I shouldn't say that. My wife has always done a great job of creating high plant-based food meals. However, I'm trying to take it even a notch higher, and I've pretty much cut out dairy. I can pretty well walk by any offering of meat now. It doesn't even appeal to me. And this is just as Mark was saying, through having met Dr. Rao online and just being awakened to this concept of plant-based eating, and not only what it does to the planet, but what it does to ourselves as insofar as health improvement. It's just staggering. However, I have a peculiar revelation that I'm working on, and that is one of personal sovereignty. And I'm really actually trying to expel labels and basically ask people to just not label me, but just say my name. I'm Miles. And the reason for doing that is because if you accept a label, people can use that against you. Now, I'm just speaking personally, and I'm not trying to convince anybody to be like me. But it's like if you question capitalism, it's not like it once was, not too long ago. If you immediately started to question capitalism, people would jump on you and say, well, what, you're against freedom? Because we've been brought up to believe that capitalism equates to freedom, right? So if you were to question capitalism, people would think you're questioning freedom, and, you must be a communist, things like that, or you're a Marxist, right? Same thing, you could say, well, Karl Marx had some interesting economic concepts.
Did I enter some communist meeting by mistake?
There you are, see? So that's where I'm saying, I'm not saying I'm vegan, because in fact, I've gotten into trouble at the dinner table saying I'm vegan, and my family jumping on me and saying, no, you're not, because we saw you eat this, or we saw you eat that. And, I pointed out, my wife had made a wonderful dal dish, which is a vegan dish of lentils and kale and potato, and it's delicious. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. And I just made mention, if you don't put the yogurt on it, you're being vegan. And then they all look at me like, basically go to hell with that, because, they know that I've on occasion violated. So anyway, that's enough about me. But what I would like to update about is that today I was on 2 live streams. One was coming from COP25 from Madrid, hosted by Stuart Scott, who I actually have a personal relationship with. Thank you to Social Club at the End of This World and Jamin Shively, because Stuart Scott was once on the Social Club. And one thing led to another. And I was actually for a while working with Stuart Scott, helping him. And like I often am, I have these peculiar viewpoints. And I just said, Stuart, I'm going to step away from your organization for this reason. And you know, he was a little affronted. I'm not going to go into it because it's a long story, but you know, we patched it up. We just agreed we kind of see the world a little bit differently. And I'm working on a concept that is a bit different. So anyway, I was on a live stream. Dr. James Hansen, world-renowned climate scientist, was the panelist with Stuart Scott. And I'm just flabbergasted, because not only was there no mention of industrial animal agriculture as an issue, but Dr. Hansen is promoting nuclear power as a solution, or part of the solution anyway, to be fair to him. And I've spent many, many hours studying nuclear energy, the nuclear predicament, listening to all sorts of interviews of nuclear scientists, and in particular, Arnie Gunderson of Fairwinds Energy Education. And there is no way nuclear should be part of a solution, in my opinion. Okay, so that was and I was saying on the live chat, 87% of the problem is due to industrial animal agriculture and animal products. You know, read Dr. Rao's report. I even posted the link, told them to go to the Climate Healers website, and you know, just really putting it out there that this international panel, intergovernmental panel on climate change has got to get the facts right. Okay, so that was this morning. Then this afternoon, lo and behold, here's another live stream that I'm on in the live chat. And this is the Nordic ministers from Sweden with an organization called We Don't Have Time. Once again, I haven't listened to the whole thing, but I didn't detect any indication that they appreciate that greenhouse gas emissions, 87% are due to industrial animal agriculture, per Dr. Rao's white paper. Again, posting these in the live chat, having debate with a couple of people. So I'll wrap up by saying I think it'd be a very interesting project for the team to try to monitor how many instances does Dr. Rao's, not Dr. Rao's report, but that would be great if it got mentioned, but how many times industrial animal agriculture is really recognized as being number one. It certainly wasn't by these Nordic ministers. They were saying, oh yes, we got to get people to stop driving their cars and got to build trains, and you know, all those things are wonderful. But anyway, I'm ranting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miles. Welcome, Jamin.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. So great to see everybody, including Deborah, who I've been missing. So shall we talk agenda? And by the way, am I moderating, or are you, Benjamin, or should we just kind of tag team it?
I've been moderating. It's either way, it's fine with me. We kind of just have been going around and giving updates so far, and then we were planning on kind of getting into whatever agenda items people have brought themselves. We have one in particular that we'd like to, well, a couple that we'd like to talk about. So yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Okay, so let's talk agenda. Let's learn from the lessons from our last social club, and talk agenda first. And or we're still sharing. We're still kind of letting people give their updates. So carry on. Would you want to give an update? Yeah, I'll give an update. Melissa and I just arrived in San Francisco. Drove up the last couple of days from San Diego, where we had Thanksgiving, and a lot of intense conversations with family members down there, and where we're focusing on mainly on two major things: collective intelligence, which we're applying right here to veganism, and solar radiation management as the number one top priority, most urgent solution for cooling the planet in time. And I use the analogy of a household that has lots of problems. You know, the dad's alcoholic, beats his wife, the kid's truant from school, getting into drugs, the daughter just ran away from home. They've got all these problems. Oh, and by the way, the house is on fire. Okay, so what's your first call going to be? Is it going to be to the dad's sponsor at Alcoholics Anonymous, to the brother's truant officer, et cetera, et cetera? No, it's going to be to the fire department. And in this case, the fire department doesn't exist. We have to build it. It's a planetary fire department called the SRM Fire Department. And so we've been focusing on how do we make that actually operational and get the world to actually do SRM, which at planetary scale to be meaningful, to actually put out the fires, and therefore buy us time to then get on with the rest of it. And at the top of the list is veganism. Of course, the two can happen in parallel. It's not either or. A lot of things need to happen in parallel, but let's not forget to call the fire department. And let's each of us not forget that we need all of us to dedicate serious time every day to putting out the fire, or there will be no more world to go vegan. And as far as, I just want to address right up front, I'm kind of getting into a little bit of I'll save the rant. It's not a rant, but I'll save the monologue about how we need to really merge these worlds of veganism, collective intelligence, and SRM into one whole. And I'll propose that as an agenda item. I'll also propose to Deborah and Mark that they mute their microphones when not talking, because we're getting some background noise, please. And but the last few days I've been focusing on the SRM part, and as a vehicle to get that done, a planetary federation of coastal communities hey, welcome, Dharmendra, great to see you. A federation of coastal communities to take the lead on SRM, not that they're the only communities in the world that need to focus on it, but that's yet another topic. So the two topics I'd like to propose agenda-wise are really SRM and the Federation of Coastal Communities, but the broader one is, how do we merge these? How do we merge the big three of veganism, collective intelligence, and SRM? So that's what's top of mind for me. I'll pass the baton to whoever is next, going on mute, and so great to see everybody.
I'll just jump in and say I really like that idea. How do we merge these three? And I do have an idea.
What's your idea?
Okay, well, I'll give it to you right now. It's pretty short.
Well, actually,
in fact,
I would propose we be a little bit more structured, let everybody make their intros, and then we get on to agenda. And those are just proposals to the agenda, which can be shot down. I just want to be a bit more intentional about our agenda.
That sounds good. I think that everyone's kind of given an update. Dharmendra, if you want to give an update, or Annette, you're welcome to.
Annette did give a brief one, but and Nolan and Evan haven't. Or
Okay, update. I'm driving home. I dropped off my last client, and now I'm heading back to where I normally go to work. That's really an update. No, hilarious. let's see, what is my update? I'm getting more and more excited as I meet more and more people and able to share more and more of who I am that is connected so much with the three pillars of what we're all about here, which is SRM, vegan intelligence, and collective intelligence. I think what I bring most to the table is the collective part of it, and I'm just really excited to be here and watch it all unfold and evolve. And I'll just keep it wide open like that. So, hi, everybody.
Super quick edit. In the case of Dharmendra, it's not watch it all unfold and evolve, make it unfold and evolve. Going on mute. Oh, and then Melissa, my partner Melissa's here. Who this is a chance for you
Good to see you guys. Yeah, it's good to be in San Francisco. We drove through the San Joaquin Valley, which was really shocking. And as we drove past all the cattle in fields, well, actually, no, not in fields, in muddy, stinky areas, crowded, looking really miserable. I was so glad that Jamin and I are not eating meat. So I felt really good about that. And yeah, it just amazes me how much of the land has been given over to human agriculture and cultivation. And I could really see what Silas Rao talks about with the shrinking of habitat for wildlife. And it just really upsets me. And I'm really glad we're all working together to eradicate this old way of living on the planet and creating a healthy new way of living on the planet. This now means vegan, peace and vegan.
Thank you, Melissa. Evan, do you want to give a quick update?
Yeah, my name is Evan, and I'm currently living in Seattle now. I'm 20 years old. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with my life, and it seems like the people involved in veganism, like Silas Rao and Will Tuttle, and the people behind movies like Cowspiracy and stuff like that, and Jamin with SRM, and people who want to make solve problems. That seems to be the way to go, and that's so I'm just hanging around, trying to learn, find where I can dive in.
Awesome. Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to give an update?
Yeah, I'll give a little one. My name's Nolan. I am just moving up to Whidbey Island, going to be super close to Jamin. So we're going to get a bunch of work done. Super, super hyped about that. Yeah, and I'm just happy to see everyone gathered here. I'm going to be probably pretty passive this meeting because I got to organize some stuff. But I'll be listening in the background. And I guess while I have the stage for a moment, I just want to throw it out there that I think uniting these groups, like Miles, you're talking about, interacting with these different online communities, and then kind of seeing where they're missing out. I think that we have a serious opportunity to bust in there and help unite these different communities and bring them into one place online. So I know maybe now is not the time, but since I have the stage, I just wanted to propose that at some point we talk about some other communities that are developing and kind of, maybe have a list of targets, so to speak, that of communities that we're trying to unite. And yeah, that's all I have to say for now. Thanks for listening, and thank you all for being here.
Thanks, Nolan.
I'm happy to give an update. My name's Annette Hattaway. This is my first social club. I've been in Nepal working on an internship on learning how to care for captive elephant feet with Carol Buckley. And I've been vegan since 2014 and met Sally Schrow from mutual friends in the animal rights movement. It's really early in the morning here. I'm still in my PJs, and it's 5:24 a.m. right now. So I joined an hour ago, and I'm just seeing what's going on. I'll be sharing more information with a friend of mine who works for the Nepalese government in communications about the white paper. He's already posted it through his sphere online and believes in the mission. And that's about it. I'll just kind of listen and be passive as well.
Awesome, Annette. Great to see you. Great. So glad you're here, and thanks for getting up early.
Yeah, thanks, Annette.
I just kind of wanted to explain why I wasn't showing myself online. I'm still in my PJs.
No worries. Does anyone else have an update? If not, I will post. I do want to get to your agenda item, Jamin and Nolan, and I think that my agenda item will not take very long. So if you don't mind starting there, I'll just jump right into it. First of all, I wanted to say, so far, we've been really successful with this survey and getting people into groups on Basecamp, because these groups have, I'm looking up a screen up here, in case you're wondering what I'm looking at. I'm looking at all the groups, and they've all populated with more than like 8 or 10 people in each group since we sent out the survey and got people kind of assigned into the groups they were most interested in. Since we sent out the survey, it sounds like, I haven't been a part of this, but Suzanne can speak more about it. Shankar, Ray, and Suzanne have been,
Shankar and Ray
have updated the survey to include a way of capturing everybody's skills and what they can bring to the table, what kind of resources they have, so that we can kind of create a database of resources and know who we can plug in where in certain situations. And so the survey has been updated with an extra page, a questionnaire that lets you, you'll have to take a look at the survey again. If you've already filled it out, please take a look at it again, because it would be helpful to know where you can plug in as well. And
Mark, if you want to talk about this Basecamp stuff we're talking about now, we can connect on that separately.
We can connect on that separately.
It's for the Climate Healers initiatives. Deborah?
So I've been really busy and I haven't been checking the Basecamp emails. Where can I find the survey?
I believe that Ray made it one of the recurring check-ins so that everyone has it there, and then you can unsubscribe once you've taken it, and it won't.
Okay. Awesome. I'll look for it. Thank you.
And something else that's super awesome is that the Vegan Collective Intelligence Group is the largest group on Basecamp right now with, I think, 23 people. So we're going strong. That's from nothing. We started from nothing. A month ago we started at nothing. Now we've got 23 people. It's super awesome. I'm really excited about that. So to kind of bring all this back together, if you haven't filled out the survey, fill out the survey. If you have filled out the survey, add to the survey so that we know.
Just fill it out again. It's okay if we have 2 submissions.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah. And then if you have any suggestions for any suggestions at all, contact Suzanne or I, or you can bring it up now. I don't really have anything else to say on the subject, unless anyone else does. So I'm interested in.
Just on the subject of like self-organizing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is technically falls under that category, but my introduction was a little bit briefer than I usually do, but I want to open it up a little bit more and say one of the new groups of the Vegan World 2026 is called the Vegan Synergy Meditation, which everybody is invited to at any time whatsoever, and that's kind of my agenda at all times and in all places, no matter what else I'm doing. That's kind of the core of what I do. And what I wanted to say about that is that anytime during this meeting, I've offered that anybody who has questions about what that might be about and how to go about that. And if you stick around long enough in this meeting and it goes on long enough, we usually end up going into it a little bit and not just talking about it, but actually doing it. And it's based on some of the most recent feedback I've got. It's pretty, just to give a simple description, it's pretty uplifting. It's very eye-opening. It's soul-expanding, and it really, how should I say, inspires your intelligence to come out with who you really are and what you're really about beyond your mask and your conditioning and all those kind of things, so that you can really get in touch with what really moves you and how to bring you to the table, not as well as whatever it is you're bringing to the table. So anyway, I felt like I didn't really introduce myself well enough because I'm still working. I'm still, so sometimes I get a little brief. But Vegan Synergy Meditation, it's kind of like the inner, not to sound elitist, but it's kind of like the inner circle of the Vegan Collective Intelligence group. So I'll just add that, just to kind of complete my hi, how is everybody? This is me, Dharmendra Gordon. Done.
Go.
Dharmendra, I love that you're offering that, and that sounds like something we should start with, you know?
Oh, well, now that you mention it, we could do even while I'm driving, because I've done these kind of things no matter what kind of activities I'm doing. So I will be happy to share in such a way that we all get to partake of it and be contributors to it also, in a kind of unusual way, not in a way that most people are. If everybody's okay with that, I can't see everybody in a thumbs up, but I'm going to say if
yes, please.
Anybody is not into that, then let me know. Otherwise, I'll do a 5 or 10 minute little thing to give us a little taste. That's way for opening that up that way.
Yes, please.
Yes,
please.
Yeah, because that's really what I wanted to do anyway. So everybody just take a moment and just kind of whatever your intention or your agenda is, just put that down for a moment and kind of let that be. It'll come back and hop on your lap as soon as we're done. I promise. The mind is always that way, but if you ask it, it'll just take a break for a moment and let us do this process with. It's more about our heart and our being, and our mind is more like the passenger who's just going to kind of watch. So if each of us could reach into our living experience right now and just get in touch with what's challenging you the most right now. What's I don't want to say bringing you down, but in a positive way, I'll say bringing you down. What's keeping you on the planet right now and involved and connected into the earth in a way that's really challenging you and pushing you, and maybe even bugging you? Because you always want to start with where you're really at without trying to make it better. But just really, what are you shouldering right now? What's the burden you're carrying? And just bring it, just literally bring it right in front of you and take a look at it. And give it your full attention right now, because it's always bugging you anyway in the back of your mind. So why not get it over with and just take a look at it right now and see what that is. And just kind of slowly, you know, as you become aware of it, start to accept that this is what you've been given right now. This is the actual earth lesson that you're being faced with right now. Without judgment, without saying whether it's good or bad or comparing it to anything else or anybody else. It's what you have on your plate right now. So just take a moment and really, and another thing to be very clear about is just be in the position of reconciliation with it, neutral. If feelings are coming up, let them flow through you. Don't throw them out. Don't push them down. Just feel them. Just feel what's there. That's the best way in this process to allow yourself to be at one with whatever it is your challenge is bringing up in you through your feelings. So just allow those to flow through you and be honest about it and be sincere. This is what I'm feeling, being faced with this challenge right now, like a child would, you know. Just be simple and sincere and straightforward with it. And as you do so, and as you start to accept that, just go ahead and bring it right into the centermost part of your heart, and embrace it like a mother would embrace a child. Just embrace that. That you can call it a shadow if you like, because it's something that we need to bring light to and give it our full attention. And once we do that, we can embrace it because we can see it for what it is, and we can start to love the lesson we're living right now. Just see the vision that this lesson is showing you. There's something there that's actually really beautiful about yourself that you're taking in right now, that is opening a doorway for you to grow and to rise up and to really stand up for yourself and take charge of whatever this lesson is. And you can even begin with something like, if I really could have this lesson any way I wanted it and could bring all my best skills to it, even skills I don't have right now, but I just see that if I have those skills, I can do it. Step into that view, step into that vision, own it totally, your lesson right now, as if you are achieving it, as if whatever it is that's teaching you, you're getting it. You're writing that. You're owning it, stepping into it fully. You are the vision that you are visioning. You are bringing the future that you see at yourself into your experience right now, in your aura. Your essence is capable of transcending time anytime and getting out of time anytime at once. And just being in the present moment, where you stretch your present moment to include that future that you see yourself succeeding in whatever the challenge being presented to you is. And you breathe that in, and you notice as you breathe that in, this is about your gift, and your heart is at ease. Did I lose you guys for a sec?
Yeah, we lost you for a second, Darman.
Did I lose you guys?
You broke up a little bit.
Okay, because I was right in the middle of the gift, and is everybody in the vision of the gift and what it's showing you?
Yeah.
Are we there?
It was literally just the last 10 seconds you broke up. So you're good now, Dharmendra.
Okay. Okay. So as we step into that vision and own who we are there, we're going to do one more thing as a collective now, because we're all to your gifts. This is the superconscious part. This is the siddha, and siddha just means a miraculous ability. And using the impetus and the boost of the whole group right now, we're all going to tune into each other's essences right now, beyond time and space, as if we're all in the same, feel the warmth in each one of your bellies as if you were in the room with me, which I can, and which I invite all of you to do right now. And allow that heart, that gift that came into your heart and then was pumped into every part of your body, to expand out now through your aura into the whole group, so that we're all sharing one unique superconscious. And when we do that, we get a reflection from above. And I like to always say, help. I ask for help from above. What is that reflection? What is the intent right now that this group, in its unification and its unity, what is the single purpose of this group right now? That the universe is reflecting into each of our consciousnesses like facets of a diamond. And now for the rest of the group, that's what my gift is to give to the Vegan Collective Intelligence, is this vegan synergy meditation. And that was a kind of very classic textbook sort of vernacular way of doing it. There's other ways that are a lot more, how should I say, spontaneous, but it still works just the same. I did that just so that for the benefit of people who may not have participated in this before, to kind of get a handle by the wording I use of what we're about, why we're doing it. We're literally getting the universal reflection of what is the intent of this group this time. And that's just going to play itself out now throughout the rest of this group. And one last thing I'll offer is, if you can tune into your heart right now and sense the collective energy, not just of all of us, but of anybody who we're connected to that you know might be attuned to this process if they knew about it. Whether you've met them or not, they might be somebody you meet in the future that you introduce to this. But just to let all of that into your heart right now as a, how shall I call it, with searing intensity of joy. There's a brilliance to all of us in our heart that's always connected to the divine. And that's just one thing as a collective I introduce all of us into the permission to feel right now. Just a brilliant white intensity in the center of your heart that is like searing right through your heart. And just even if you feel it for just a second, that's enough. Because that's the thing that makes all of this other stuff actually happen. That's the presence of divinity that's always in all of our hearts at all times, everywhere, no matter what, whether we forget it or not. It's always there. And the proof is that I intend that everybody who is in this circle right now has at least tasted that for at least a millisecond while I shared this last moment of get in touch with the divinity in your heart. Because that's what inspires and fires all of this, and what allows us to get that universal reflection from the greater intelligence of higher consciousness, as we are a unified higher consciousness right now as a collective. So thank you, Melissa, for allowing me the space to open that up and share that in a rather textbook way, because those of you who have done this with me before know I can be a lot more loose and playful and spontaneous. But I feel, because I haven't yet met everybody, I wanted to be a little more respectful and not assume that I could just go in certain directions until I get to know you a little bit better. So please excuse my, hyper textbook, way of doing that. For those of you who've done it with me before and know that I do it a little bit more spontaneous and loose. But anyway, so that maybe I hope is a good start, and I hope everybody's heart is lit up and ready to just reveal your intent, your unique contribution. Okay, done for now.
That was super helpful, Dharmendra. Thank you for that. Lifted the fog, lifted the veil. Hawa.
Lifted the fog, I like that. Just call me the fog lifter.
Good one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I found that very powerful, and I was very moved. I had to turn the camera off and collect myself a bit. Took me deep into thought and purpose and meaning.
Wow, thank you for sharing that, Miles. That just took me into deep thought and purpose and meaning. Thank you. That's the proof in the pudding that you definitely are tuned in, and I'm glad I could finally share that with you after so many Zooms and everything else we've done already together.
Great. Yes, thank you very much. And you know, it'd be amazing. You know, not that we'll do it, but it'd be amazing to. And maybe you do this. Do you debrief? You know, where everybody ended up going? Do you ever do that?
What happens is if somebody shares like you just did, I do a brief little debrief real quickly, just like that, and give a reflection back of what I get from where you're coming from. So it's kind of like that, because the rest of it, and you're right, you kind of got to downstack all that after it's done. But the way I choose to do it now, instead of going into long sharings, I prefer to keep it like what we just did, is allow the meeting to just simply by insights are going to come out of this if we just relax now out of that intensity, and it will define the intent of the meeting. So I'd rather use it for the purpose of the meeting itself and what our Vegan Collective Intelligence Group is all about, so that we stay on focus and on target. But anybody who wants to share like you just did, that is the only debriefing I want to do in that specific. Is that clear?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Some other
I think we lost Miles there. Miles, I think we lost you there for a second.
Oh, you lost me? Oh, I was just saying that I agree. You know, it'd be great to in some other event go into the debriefing, but as Dharmendra says, it'll manifest through the agenda. So.
Right, but we can also have vegan synergy meditations where we do that. I've with Jamin and Nolan and Evan and Benjamin and Susan and a few other and Shankar and Dolly and a few other people. Those are the more spontaneous ones that we do. This one where it's in the Vegan Collective Intelligence, I want to kind of keep it more textbook.
Sure.
And just keep it on purpose and on target and on intent and that kind of thing.
To that end, unless somebody else wants to say anything, I would. Is the next item on the agenda the integration of artificial radical collective intelligence, veganism, and solar radiation management? Are we at that point?
I think so. I would vote yes on that.
Okay, I'll just kick it off with respect to, here's an idea. And by synchronicity, it really manifested in this live stream that I was participating on that I mentioned was coming out of Sweden, was the Nordic ministers in partnership with a group over there in Sweden called We Don't Have Time. And they're going into about, it's got to be an integrated approach. We have to get people, getting them out of their cars. We got to build railways. We need to, fly less. And then, we have to stop the fossil fuel industry. And as I said, there was nary a mention of what effect diet of 7.7 billion people is having on the planet. So related to Melissa telling about the animal agriculture, industrial agriculture that she saw as they drove through the San Joaquin Valley. By coincidence, just the other day, we drove to a store down in a town called Okotoks. It's just south of the city of Calgary. Okotoks means big rock in the Niitsitapi language of the Blackfoot people. So in Okotoks, there's a Costco there. As we're driving, I'm looking at the fields of hay bales. And in the past, any other trip, I would have said, oh, isn't that nice? Look at all those hay bales. Isn't that pretty? But then it dawned on me, well, why is all this hay being grown? It's to support all the meat, the cattle and the pigs that we are eating. And instead of that land being what it was originally, probably a lot of aspen trees and such, who knows what it looked like 150 years ago, it dawned on me, wow. And my background is transportation, railway transportation, and it brought to mind the call I had from somebody who was interested in this particular product, an intermodal type container. The company I was working with till I got laid off was bringing to market. And he was an American, and he was really keen on, could this intermodal container be used to move hay? Because the interesting thing about hay is that it's, on one hand, the least expensive product on the market until you try to move it. Then it becomes a very expensive product. But what he wanted to figure out is, could he, because there's vast amounts of land in Canada and Alberta and in the United States that is dedicated to growing hay. And he wanted to get that hay to Asia. So intermodal containers are coming in by the millions from Asia, filling up our Costco's with plastic and food and junk we probably really don't need. These containers are full coming across the Pacific, but most of them go back empty. So if he could get hay, he could get the hay to these probably huge pig farms over in Asia and cattle processing plants. Anyway, this is the idea that came to be on in this live chat, because somebody said, people, we should be liking this video, this live stream that we're watching. These Nordic ministers, people, this person saying like or dislike, or you're not, you don't care about Mother Earth. And I said, well, I don't know whether to like or dislike this video yet, because I haven't heard anybody mention that the diet of 7.7 billion people is the number one issue. And then, I posted 87% greenhouse gases by Dr. Rao's analysis. The reason biggest reason we're in this predicament. It's not that people are driving their cars. Yeah, that's important, but it's what we're eating. Julian Cribb, environmental journalist out of Australia, says our jawbone is more dangerous than nuclear weapons. It's having a bigger effect. We're just chewing up everything with what we eat. And then it came to a point where I said, Greta is vegan, by the way. And somebody said, well, how about Fridays for vegans or something to that effect? And I said, yeah, we should have a global vegan strike. Like, everybody just stop eating meat for a month. Let's do that as an experiment. It's not that difficult. It's not that complicated. It's not like these Nordic ministers are saying, oh, we've got to integrate transportation changes with power changes and all this and that. It's difficult, but it can be done. And I'm thinking, well, no, actually, I think it's pretty simple. The next trip to the grocery store, you don't buy meat. Now, I also posted, I said, well, let's do this experiment. Let's not eat meat or dairy for a month. but let's give the farmers a heads up that this is going to happen. And, you know, just like Fridays for Future, it was one little Greta doing her little strike in front of the parliament. And now millions of people marching on occasions on Fridays strikes. So general intelligence, artificial intelligence, and we say stop eating meat for a month because we want to promote solar radiation management. It all becomes one big message. Like, why are we not eating meat for a month? Well, because this is a message to the fire department to get out there, and we need to start doing something with respect to reflectivity. So that's the idea. A global initiative of general collective intelligence to make a stand for solar radiation management by not eating meat and dairy for a month.
The words that come to mind are, as we go vegan and as we invite others to give it a try for a day, a month, a week, whatever, as you eat vegan, reflect. And we can call it vegan reflection with the multiple entendre.
Nice, Jamin. Yeah, great ideas, Miles.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this all needs to be integrated. Amen to that.
Deborah has to drop off.
Well, say something before you go, Deborah.
Oh, I don't. I just wanted to say thanks. I'm glad I got to tune in for a little bit again today. I know it's been a while. I'm sorry I have to drop off. I don't stay on.
Quite all right. Great to see you, Deborah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, you know, what was it? Reflect on vegan for Fridays, you know, or reflect on vegan, you know, then we just build it up eventually to like a general strike. And as we say, we present Dr. Rao's analysis. We say, you know, here's a heads up. We don't want to cause unnecessary pain and suffering to the pigs and the cows and such, because, you know, if we did it irresponsibly, I'm afraid there could be a lot of unnecessary suffering, right? You know, but if we give lots of warning and this is what's the plan, you know, farmers, heads up, you're going to have to adjust to be ready for this. Anyway, I think and again, the whole always promoting the solar radiation management in concert with the message every time it's stated. And I think this IPCC COP25 is on for the next 10 days. Every opportunity anybody has to maybe put forward, if we could come up with a hashtag, might be really worthwhile to get this thing happening while COP25 is on.
Anne says, I need ideas for signs for Friday's climate strike protests. We'll be in Boca Raton. Should I do something about climate healers, the Federation of Coastal Communities, something else?
I would suggest that rather than try to jump in and answer that right now, let's let the conversation evolve a bit and see what pops out of it. And then also tomorrow, we're going to have a meeting starting at 11 a.m. Pacific time, focusing on the Federation of Coastal Communities with a specific focus on Pacifica, which is why Melissa and I are here in the Bay Area right now. I just wanted to put that out there. So let's continue with the conversation. We're in the midst of it right now. If that works for you, Anne.
Yeah, Miles, I wanted to just mention the Backbone campaign in Washington State are focusing a lot on the orca whales and Chinook salmon. Both are endangered. And they're working with groups. So there's actually a precedent for what you're talking about here. I forget, it's Bill Moyer is the guy who's the director of Backbone Campaign, is working on the ideas with designers for an electric train. And they're working with groups up in Eastern Washington where all the agricultural stuff's going on. Part of the reason they're protesting to keep the Snake River Dam, which really needs to come down to save these Chinook salmon, is because of transportation. They use the dammed up waters to transport, I believe it's grain. So what they're doing is they're looking for alternatives, which is electric train and I believe other forms of transportation to move the grain. So they're working with the farmers on that so that they can at some point take the dams down off the Snake River to promote the livelihood of the Chinook salmon who need to get back up to their ancestral spawning grounds. So you might want to check that one out just for some insight along the line.
Thank you. Yeah. And, again, I'd just like to say that all this stuff is just coming out of the collective unconscious, right? And it was a granular thing that just evolved this concept of a global vegan plant-based strike, against meat and dairy, and do it responsibly. What you mentioned it reminds me of another statement that I made in the chat on I believe it was that live stream or the previous one with Stuart Scott and Dr. Hansen. I said, be aware that the oceans are being draglined of all the fish to feed animal agriculture. And these big drag lines are decimating the oceans to provide food for cattle and pigs. And I made the point about, realize how much of the earth is consumed to feed these animals just so you can get a pound of beef or pork. People don't realize this. They need to know it. And just a quick anecdote. I have a friend who's a pilot, used to fly 747s and now flies the 777. And he said, when you're flying over the Pacific, you can look down occasionally and you'll see almost like a city of lights out in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific, a whole string of lights. What these are huge factory trawling ships that are, pulling these drag lines and just ripping up the oceans and every living thing that's in there. Again, why? Because this is feed and fertilizer, and it's all unnecessary. And that's why these orcas are starving, in addition to radiation and such from Fukushima, I would suspect.
Yeah, I forget. I read some statistic that like 1 pound of seafood it takes 5 pounds of wild fish to make 1 pound of seafood. And, we know those statistics with land animals too. I wanted to play devil's advocate on your idea, Miles, that we can responsibly strike. And I didn't know, I knew theoretically that the government subsidized meat and dairy, but we were in one of the Silish's, Dr. Rao's webinars, he shows the amount of surplus that the government buys of meat and dairy. And I feel like even no matter how much notice we give these industries, I feel like it's all unnecessary suffering. And I don't know what we would be preventing. Maybe there'd be some prevention, but my worry is that the surplus would just be bought up anyway. And I don't know. But I don't want to be I'm not trying to be negative about it either.
No, that's what No, that's great, because that's what the collective intelligence part of it is, and that's where Jamin steps in and says, "Okay, let's analyze how we roll this global strike against meat and dairy, roll it out in a collective intelligence." You know, all the terms that you've presented in the past, Jamin, about not scrambling, but you know, your friend there from the university that does the trees of decision trees that go up and down, and you know, that's where we can say, okay, we're going to apply these concepts. Brainstorming. You know, we apply. What you're just doing, Suzanne, is part of brainstorming. You know, I put out an idea that say, yeah, we should make sure we try to do it responsibly and mitigate injury to animals in the process if we can, and maybe that involves doing a heads up. And you countered saying, well, no, what difference is it going to make? And you know, I think, you know, as I think about what you're saying, yeah, it's what would it serve? But you know, again, if we kick this around, do brainstorming, use this as an initial application of radical collective intelligence. How do you roll out a global strike? You know, maybe do a one-day strike on a Friday, then you know, you try that every Friday, and then you move it to, okay, we're going to do a global strike for a week, and you know, again, it doesn't matter if everybody's on board, even if there's just, what do they say, 3% of people, and you'll make a huge impact getting people thinking about it. And again, to support Jamin's imperative that we've got to get onto the reflectivity issue, you know, we would say that this is all because we need to do something now as best we can to retain or reestablish reflectivity as we lose the Arctic and Antarctic ice.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Love you guys. I'll check in with you later. I gotta go for some air. Thank you.
I'd love to just jump in for a moment, and I'm really kind of digging this concept of vegan reflection, right, with its multiple entendres, because one entendre, one meaning, is vegans getting together and reflecting, right? And with all the protesting going on and signs and noise and all that kind of stuff, it occurs to me that one form of extremely peaceful protest is us gathering with whatever clothing, whatever costume, whatever signage, but then being silent and actively reflecting, right? Mental reflection, spiritual reflection, right? Because this vegans coming together and reflecting, that is collective intelligence. What we're doing right now is we're reflecting collectively, communally, right? Sharing and reflecting. But I mean, I'm just imagine, you know, 8 of us show up at a park, and Nolan, Evan, Benjamin, Suzanne, Melissa, and I, we've come up with this group hug that we do when we're all together, where we literally put our heads together. So my head will be touching whoever's to my right and whoever's to my left. We all lean in until our heads connect, right? As kind of a symbol of collective intelligence. Imagine we just show up at a park, and maybe we've got signs on our backs, maybe it's our costumes, maybe there's a big sign off to the side or something like that that says,
you know, what you could do is we could come up with a simple pattern to make a shirt, and you would go and you'd buy those very inexpensive emergency space blankets, those foil emergency blankets that you find in your first aid kits and such. Those are really cheap, and you can everybody could be wearing hats and shirts and pants made out of that.
I love it. And especially the aluminum hats, which people associate with people being crazy and you're paranoid of aliens or something like that. But, vegan reflection, because it hits all three: vegan, SRM, and collective intelligence. Boom, boom, boom. And then there's some kind of activity that we can do. And maybe we just put like VR, which most people will say, oh, what is that, virtual reality? No,
Well, and you could start it this Friday. We could put it out there to all the young people. Here's Dr. Rao's Climate Change Healers white paper. Make yourself a reflective shirt out of a space blanket, an emergency team blanket. And go to the next Friday strike wearing that. And the more kids that start wearing this.
Oh my goodness, Miles, check it out. You just gave me a great idea. What did Mahatma Gandhi do? He said, burn the English clothing, right? In our case, we'd compost it, right, Benjamin? And we'd wear this silver reflective clothing out of space blankets. Whether you go to school, the office, or you're just walking down to the store. And, maybe on the back in white, it's just the letters VR and then subtext vegan reflection. And everyone's like, what the hell is that? Huh? Vegans in space blankets? What's going on? And and then the meme, vegan reflection. And then people would come up, hey, you're one of those people. And then when we get together and huddle in a park or something like that, and we're silent and we're reflecting together, and then maybe after a period of that, we have a conversation. We sit in a circle and we have a conversation and we say, vegan reflection, all are welcome. Right? And anyway, I'm just kind of reflecting on that right now.
I like it. I like the fact that it plays into the idea that through veganism, we are not only are we creating this new intelligence with collective intelligence, but we're helping all the other intelligences that currently exist by removing whatever destruction of those intelligences exist by stopping eating animals. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, totally. Wow.
And in a sense, if we just started with this shirt idea, and there's a particular name for that shirt. When you could actually get Mahatma Gandhi's shirt design and say, okay, this is ideally what you'll make your shirt to look like. And then, as far as this saying it's an organized strike against meat and dairy, it just could happen very organically. And then eventually there's a economy of scale, or what's the word I'm looking for? There's a critical mass of people that every Friday are showing up wearing these shirts, and more of them are showing up every Friday, and more people are saying, eating vegan's actually healthy for me. Not only do I like the cool shirt, but I also appreciate the benefits I'm having personally. And it really, as you said, Jamin, a person wearing that garment is going to stand out. They don't even have to say anything. They're just in their silence, just in their walking down the street. It's like, okay, well, we know who that person is, and we know what they're promoting, and you can see them from 5 miles away as the sun's bouncing off of them.
Brilliant. See, another entendre or another message to throw in there. It's brilliant.
That's really good too, Jamin. I like that.
Vegan reflection. It's brilliant, right? Because on a sunny day, it's really shiny.
I have something.
Go.
Imagine that we connect with lecturers at universities, maybe through students at universities, but somehow connect to professors. And imagine that maybe a class starts with, like, one of their lectures ends with the professor showing off a 5 to 10 minute video at the end of class. that is some kind of compilation that we put together that features Silas Rao and others. And that acts as a kind of primer. And then maybe for the impassioned professors that are teaching these, classes around climate science or something related, and recognize veganism and its importance and want to pull that in. I could imagine some professors would be willing to devote an entire class to bringing in a guest like Silas or a group of us over Zoom, and then just have us interfacing with the whole class. And then we could provide, a space for those students to go afterwards online to learn more and talk to us directly. I think that could be really huge. And of course, we're super close to the University of Washington, and I think we could do good work there. So just an idea that came to me.
I was thinking we could also have fashion shows, fun competitions where people come with their best vegan reflective garments and, really have a lot of fun with this. I think, back in the 70s, I'm thinking, was it lame? Is that the fabric, or it used to be your singers and dancers, they would wear these really reflective, sparkly outfits, and I'm not sure, was that called lame? Does anybody know? Anybody a fashion expert? But anyway, that's, you could get really extravagant and outlandish with this idea, and a lot of fun, people carrying around big glitter balls and such.
Yeah, I like that. I think it gets to Melissa's point of bringing in artists and creativity, and while still making the reflective point and the protest point and all of it. Yeah.
And then another idea that this goes back close to a year ago is we came up with the idea of, imagine a globe, just a globe of the world, with not completely covered in disco ball mirrors, but maybe 10% of it in strategic locations, just little square mirrors glued on, and then have that suspended by something. How there's those big lamps that have like a big arc, and then there's some hanging lamp on it. Well, it would just hang the globe, and so it's just out there in the sunlight, kind of spinning around, reflecting. And it's like, look, this is what we're promoting. We're promoting reflection, SRM. This is SRM. And but the first name of vegan reflection is, of course, vegan. And so that emphasizes the vegan. That brings the two. And then we explain the other entendre of, like mental, spiritual reflection, which is collective intelligence.
And how about, here's another idea building off of what you brought in many occasions, was a open bag of smart food popcorn. You could have somebody could create instructions on how to make this garment out of your collected smart food vegan popcorn bags, repurposed.
The only problem is smart food is not vegan, but your point is super well taken. Maybe we find some vegan snack that uses that reflective material. Or maybe we start a snack called Brilliant Food. Brilliant Food.
Yeah, it could just be popcorn, just start, let's contact whoever manufactures the equipment that makes these bags and go into our own vegan line of popcorn or other snacks. And then, on every package, here's how to collect your bags and here's how you make your garment.
So
Wow.
where do you find those blankets? Where do you buy them?
REI, outdoor sporting good camping stores, or online, of course, right? And I think they're like sort of like emergency blankets, so that the idea is like if you're out camping and it's freezing and you lose your tent and whatever, you wrap yourself in that blanket with the silver part pointing inside, and that way your body heat that would otherwise be escaping literally gets reflected back to your body, right? That's the idea.
Got it. I want it before Friday, so I'll need to find a place locally that sells them, I think.
Yeah, and you could go to a first aid supplier, and they'll probably have them for sure. I'm pretty well guaranteed that, and I don't think they're very expensive. I bet if I do have a few first aid kits around the house, and I'm pretty sure I'd find one of those emergency blankets in one of my kits right now here at the house.
Or just go online and order it next day so it gets there by Thursday.
Right. Okay. Cool. This is good.
Super exciting, you guys. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, creative, artistic, kind of fun, makes people think, not in your face in the way that some other things are. I mean, this is fascinating. This is really fascinating. And curious, it would inspire curiosity from other people about what is that about, right? Without making people defensive. So that's part of the issue with encouraging the general population to go vegan, is everyone knows what the word vegan means. Everyone is like, well, not everyone. Many people are annoyed or pissed off about, you're telling me what to do, blah, blah, blah. This is like, what is that? What is that about? And And not knowing means that you have some openness to hearing about it. So this is kind of, or potentially a back doorway or a more humorous way to get into this. Yeah, cool.
And you could probably buy a bunch of this stuff. I don't know your situation, but it's probably cheap enough that you could say, if you'd please pay me the $2 it costs me to buy each of these space blankets, it'd be very much appreciated. And there might be a very simple way of just for now providing some clips where people could clip this stuff together in short order and very quickly create a poncho without too much expense.
So in the short term, and I mean, so Friday, there's a whole bunch of these climate strikes going on, and there was a call put out, at least locally, for people to join them all over the South Florida landscape. There's, 7 or 8 close by where we live. And so what I'm literally thinking is making a sign with that material and that says reflect, the answer will emerge. And then reflection is the answer, SRM, just to get people thinking, about it. And I think it would be completely unique. I don't think anybody else is going to have something like that. And I think it might, if my husband and I show up to this protest and we have 2 signs that have that, I don't think it's going to change the world, but I think it might get some people. And then we'd be wearing either our Vegan World 2026 or some sort of vegan t-shirt, so we've got both messages going on. I don't know. I got to think about it a little bit more, but this is very inspirational. Thank you.
You know, and I'll just share, I didn't actually realize why it's 2026 until just maybe 2 days ago. And it was in a 3-part Facebook post by Dr. Rao, by the Vegans of India. And I didn't realize that he's chosen 2026 because there will be no more wild animals at the rate we're killing them off by 2026. And that's like, oh my God, that just like really hit me. And in one of the live streams today, I said 2026 is because there won't be any wild animals left. I think that's a very powerful part of this message that needs to be communicated every chance we get. It's not because we're thinking about, oh, it's just going to be a little hot in 2026. No, at the rate he did his projection, extrapolating, and he confirmed, since 1970 to 2010, we killed off 52% of the wild animals. And then from 2010 to whatever year, he confirmed the World Wildlife Fund said, and in those few years, these additional percentage of wildlife have been decimated. And now we're like at 60% of the world's population of animals has disappeared since 1970. That is a shocking message. Like, everybody who loves a wild animal is going to reflect on that. This is not just that we're going to feel a little uncomfortable. It's that there's not going to be any wild animals left in 2026.
I want to share something really quick, which is this: the thinker, this famous sculpture, right? So imagine that several of us we're in San Francisco right now. Market Street is the famous main street of downtown that cuts across downtown San Francisco. Imagine that on Market Street, and one of us totally covered in this reflective material, sitting and thinking, right? They could be sitting on anything, a little portable, fold out little, thanks, Benjamin, little chair or stool, right? It could be, a 10-gallon, white drum that they use in the food service industry. And you're just sitting there like this, just silently, right? And then on your back, it says vegan reflection, right? Maybe with a URL or something like that. And maybe you've got a flyer, maybe you just have some flyers there or something like that. And it, and people can come up and talk. That's great. But when nobody's coming up and talking with you, you just go back to the pose. You hold your pose, right? Vegan reflection, all silver.
That's great.
One of those on every block. I mean, that would take
so simple.
Totally. And with literally 10 volunteers, we could get everyone's attention and down. Hey, did you see those silver people on every corner? What's this vegan reflection thing? And then the meme would spread very quickly. We'd have like one paragraph. Here's the deal. Vegan reflection, right? It's about veganism, it's about SRM, and it's about collective intelligence and reflecting. And reflecting on what we're doing to the planet. Reflecting on how we might solve it. Reflect. Reflection! SRM! Oh my goodness! And stop killing our brothers and sisters. Stop decimating wildlife. Return land to nature. Let it sequester carbon. You got the short term and the long term. You got the diet. You got the lifestyle. You got cooling down. You got putting out the fire. You got thinking. You got collective intelligence. You got the love. You got the compassion. You got the reflection. You got the meditation. You got the Armandra Gordon. You got the... The more I reflect on it, the more I like it.
It's inexpensive, it's simple, it's impactful,
Brilliant.
Brilliant, it's brilliant.
No, and that could
I'm
literally-
doing something
literally
like
be our-
this on Friday. So it might be a sign, it might be dressed up. I mean, I don't know, but I'm doing it Friday. I'll let you guys know. I don't know how much.
I'll do it here in Calgary too.
Yeah, I mean, vegan reflection, reflect, the answer will emerge. Reflection is the answer. Solar radiation management. I don't know if that'll be front and back or if only a piece of that will be. I don't know yet, but I'm doing it Friday.
Vegan reflection, subtext, it's brilliant. And then everybody's gonna say, what's brilliant? What is this thing, right?
So
Yeah, and a little handout. Here's how you make your own. Here's where you get these blankets, and for next Friday, you'll come down here with yours too.
how do we tie this? Because we want this to go somewhere, right? So we're leading these people somewhere. Is it to Radish? Like, is that where we want to lead them, or is it something? I just want to throw that question.
Wait, is it radish.org? Is it Climate Healers? Is it both? How do we?
I say let's get the domain name veganreflection.org. I'm happy to volunteer to get it unless somebody else would rather. And let's use the same name, just one slogan, Vegan Reflection, 2 words, veganreflection.org. You go there, and then on the homepage, it'll just have all the info. It'll have a link to Climate Healers, a link to Radish, a link to SRM, a link to da-da-da-da-da, right? And
I told you that I love you guys recently.
oh, thank you, Anne. We love you so much. I love all of you. Woo! And that's one of the beautiful things about veganism. It's about love.
Right. And I meant all of you. I mean, it is brilliant.
It's brilliant. And this is collective intelligence. This is vegan reflection right here.
Yeah, I've never quite seen it take such a turn and get into new modes of thinking about stuff. But that's kind of what happens when you go through your layers as a collective and then just release. As you come down, the insights just come through. Because I was just noticing it, and I'm like, wow, this is different. This is a different conversation about how to make an impactful statement in the world about veganism, about SRM and climate healing and collective intelligence. It's interesting because you never know where it's going to go. So anyway, I just had to throw that in. It's fun to watch it take a new form. It's always fun to see it reprove itself in front of me, which it never fails to do. So.
Well, you caused this, Dharmendra, with your
exactly
with the meditation.
Because we started with the meditation. That is exactly right.
Well, I think if we really want to this has been my whole point all along, if we really want to get savvy about tackling what we're facing, I think that's the only way to do it, because we have to come up with brand new, innovative, outside the box, unusual, unthought of, unsuspected, surprising, inevitable, incredible stuff, you know.
So this is how a movement starts. Not that we're not actually at the beginning. We're somewhere along the way, but this gives it momentum and begins to move it toward a tipping point. And I'm not pretending that we're at the tipping point. I'm just saying that there's a good chance that these actions will take us in that direction. And there's a lot of things that can derail us and blah, blah, blah. But these things move us in the right direction. And that's where we need to go.
And it's so visual, you know, imagine all the Instagram photos, the Facebook photos, the Twitter photos of these people. What are these people wearing these reflective garments all about? You know, like, what the hell is that? You know, and they'll just spread like crazy.
And it's creative and artistic and it's fun and there's some humor to it. We've been talking about this for weeks, about how do we find a way, or many ways. This is potentially one of those ways to get there. It's coming together. And sometimes it feels like we're not getting very far, or not getting there very fast, but look at what happened. I mean, this is good. This is good.
And,
This is good stuff that may or may not make it, but this is really good stuff.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
seeing Jamin dancing there, I'm thinking, okay, so what is the music? What music has light in it and reflection and shine on? You know, these sorts of words that
How will Tuttle
so many.
get him to write?
There you go. Like, we'll bring back the disco days of the 1970s and really be crazy about it. Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a song called Mayonesa, which means mayonnaise, vegan mayonnaise. Anyway, I'm just getting so excited just talking about all this. Woo! I mean, you know what? Dharmendra, you totally shifted everything, because I saw how blocked I was in the old paradigm, right? And it wasn't until you invited us to go deep, go down, root down, right? As we say on Radish.
Yep.
Yeah, and wearing your vegan, Reflect on Vegan shirt or outfit gets you free entry into the vegan dance party.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, feel
right.
the love. Feel the love. The vegan, well, let's have a vegan dance party at the end of every Friday.
There's the dress code, though. You know, it's you don't get in unless you meet the dress code. Vegan Reflection.
We're getting to the joke section. That means we're getting okay. Yeah, this is fun. It's just the more it goes you get through the creativity, and then you start have a good laugh, and everybody's like, okay, all right, it's cool. But it really works, as you guys can see. It really works. It's not just foo-foo make believe. It's like you actually have to go in and touch stuff in yourself that's real, connected to something that's bigger than you and beyond you and higher than you, and then once you're lit up with that, then just relax back into your life, and the answer's just, or, you know, who knows what's going on right now with all of this, but we're going to get better at it as we do it, and it's going to get more sad. The point is we're all having fun with it. I mean, and laughing, and that's the energy we need. We don't want the heavy, serious. I mean, somewhere down the road, as it gets bigger and badder and more real, then we'll be engaged into it deeply. That's a different story in a bigger present moment. But just opening it now and seeing what we can play with and produce, and how unexpected and spontaneous it is. It's just, this is kind of our first jump from, you know, taking it up and then staying on track instead of doing the sharing thing. Like Miles, you know, we could do little sharing things, but I really wanted to keep it on target tonight to see what would happen, and it's producing new ideas. So it really is magical stuff. I'm always in awe and amazed by it every time too, because I'm just as much a recipient of it as the rest of you. I've just learned how to tap into it directly, and I hope before it's all said and done, every single one of you is just like a master of it too, because then we're all out there doing it with everybody we meet, and then it really becomes quite something, you know, because that's what the potential is.
And we need people like you to who are open to sharing this information. I don't feel like that's very common, and I'm extremely grateful for.
Well, most people are out there making a lot of money doing it, surrounding themselves with followers and doing all that stuff and turning it into a business organization. And what I've seen the result of that, it stays very local and very stereotyped into whatever that particular person is putting out, and becomes it gets solidified into a certain mode of presenting. And this way it stays open. It can spread everywhere and anywhere. You can get into all kinds of cracks and crevices that those other ways can't do. And I mean, I'm really looking at trying to get really powerfully, you know, stretch all this into the world somehow in a really subtle way, that it gets past a lot of the barriers and filters that are out there that catch a lot of these, you know, guys that are out there on the stage and making all the money they're making, but they're easily channelized by the powers that be, and they know how to do that in very subtle ways that keeps it on certain tracks. I don't want to get lost and caught up and stuck and limited by those tracks, that's why I'm kind of jumping into it the way I'm doing it and not asking for anything. I mean, down the road as it grows, whatever support we need to turn it into whatever and whatever living situations, that'll just come. But you don't have to put that out front, because really if you do that, then that's what you're really looking for. And you're not looking for the thing that I'm looking for, which is to spread this. And because all the support, if you do it in the right order, then the support will come in the perfect time, in the perfect way. And, and I can get out of my crappy life situation that I am forced to live in, because I'm completely pitiful at earning a living and everything, because I focused all my life on doing what I do best, which is spiritual. But down the road, that'll come somewhere if I keep doing this, because it's what I love. And sooner or later, somebody will come along who really loves it and has a big pocket and says, you need to be doing this all the time, pal, and I'm going to support you doing it. But I don't have to force that. That'll come when it comes, and it always does. But in the meantime, before even that happens, it's going to spread into the creeks and crevices out there in so many different ways that the world, the powers that be, won't even know what hit it. Because I've been aware of how all this works, and I've been watching it now and sharing it with you guys in the Radish for the last month, over a couple of 5-6 weeks now, and I've been listening to everybody. Everybody's tuned into what's going on. I'm aware of all that stuff. I was aware of the advertising con back when I was 14 years old, reading this book called The World is Full of It by Isidore Barmash. That was the first book that started to open my eyes to the world and how it works. And it's like you really can't go the ordinary ways anymore if you really want to get this stuff past the filters and the blocks and the security guards out there that work for the big bad powers that be, because their hand is in everything everywhere. And anytime they see an accumulation of resources of a certain kind, they got to get in and find subtle ways to control it. So by the time they do that to us, it's going to be too late, because we're going to be spread everywhere by then, because we're not looking to lay it down first on the material and say, we need all this to get this going, because then really that's all you're about. You're not about it. And I just see everybody failing and causing more problems than good and more reaction than good, because they do it that way, and instead of looking at the collective and saying, what does the collective mean? Not what do I need? Like Spock used to say, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and the needs of the few outweigh the needs of one. If you really apply that in a real way, and it really does work very powerfully. And I just have my tools, and I want everybody to be able to tap. And once you've done this a couple, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 times, you're going to find you're just doing it without even thinking about it. And one day you'll just realize, because it only takes about 100 taps into essence to really start to get this. And then you're going to find people showing up, and you're going to be doing this stuff, because every time you tap into essence, you'll never forget it. But it won't come out again until somebody needs it from you. And then once you've done those two, then you own it. And then you can bring it out anytime you want, for anything you want. It's always in threes somehow, 3s and 7s. It's always 3s and 7s. That's how the universe works, So anyway, the threes part, the three treasures. That's what I call this process that I'm sharing a lot with you guys about, where we dig into the subconscious and bring out our shadow, and then love it with our gift in our conscious, and then we all get together and become one luminous reflection to the universe that reflects back to us, what is our miraculous ability tonight, and how are we going to play with it, in this meeting. So I call it the three treasures specifically. I have a lot of other toys and tools we'll play with. It's not always going to be that repetitively over and over, but that's a great one to introduce anybody who's new, because it throws them right into and Miles was a great reflection of that. It touched him deeply, and that's what it's supposed to do. It should do that, or it's not the real thing and it didn't work, and I'm full of crap.
No, you're the real deal, Dharmendra. And I just got an idea that we could do a dance. We can come up with our own dance with music. I just want to show this one from Mexico. This is a group called Cabá from like the 90s that at first they weren't pop, I don't know, people kind of made fun of them, whatever. But then they started focusing on like music for children and parties, and they came up with this one hit that they came up with a dance for that just went viral. And the song's pretty cool. I'm just going to play an excerpt of it real quick here. The group is called Cabá, and the song is called La Calle de las Sirenas, which means the street of the mermaids.
So just imagining all those people are wearing these vegan reflective outfits.
Exactly.
And we got the dance, the music.
Oh, that's funny. So,
Anyway.
so who knows any music producers so we can make the Thinking Heads vegan reflection video? Oh.
And then everyone would get into that dance when they played at the clubs. Everyone would start dancing the same way. It's like a simple move where you like move your arms in a certain way. I'll call it out when they do it. It's kind of the climax of the song.
I think one of the things we have to reflect on, getting serious again, back to what Darby said, and that
No,
is
Dharmendra. I prefer Dharmendra. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay. So Dharmendra, you were alluding to how, you know, we're moving into a new paradigm, and we have to do that very quickly, and we have to give it its opportunity to manifest a new economy, and, you know, eventually people will actually get paid for the time and the investment, and, you know, like we already just started talking about, well, what if we started, you know, filling bags with popcorn? You know, it would be, somebody could be employed to make popcorn, fill the reflective bag, and you know, sell it, and everybody in that supply chain will maybe start making a little bit of money selling this popcorn. And, you know, we have to just let that, as you said, we have to do our best to be patient. And I think what we need to reflect on is what's going on behind the scenes that's preventing this message from getting out. Because it's so simple. It scares the powers to be, because, you know, I think we're being diverted into, oh yeah, you gotta buy yourself an electric car, oh, you gotta get solar panels on your roof, and, you know, you gotta stop driving, you gotta build new mass transit systems. And it's just stop buying meat and dairy. If all these people start wearing these outfits and they're showing that, you know, as I said, I'm not going to say I'm vegan because I've got too many hypocrisies around me. But I'm eating vegan. I want to live vegan. Vegan as a verb for me, not a noun, is what I'm about. And anyway, so why is it like IPC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, COP25, why is it that they're not talking about Dr. Rao's finding that 87% of this is due to the decimation that we are causing by what we eat? We need to reflect on that. That's got to be top of reflection, in my opinion.
Well, and in the meantime, Miles, while all that's happening and we're supposedly being prevented from spreading the message, we're going to get stronger and stronger through these kind of processes that I'm introducing, that is going to fill us with the kind of power, the real power that we need, not the kind the world gets through fame and fortune and status quo and money and all that crap, which is you're going to lose anyway when you leave this world, but filled with the real power. And once we get enough of us around and strong enough, just like what happened tonight, things are going to just start manifesting differently. We don't know how that's going to go yet. To focus on what's preventing us, well, I think we're all pretty clear on so many levels about what's preventing us, including what our own blockages are, which we offer up in the beginning of our meetings now in the way we did this evening, where we face what is our biggest challenge, and we need to love that and absorb that into ourselves and let that be part of the reflection from the higher consciousness about what we can do with that differently, you know? And the bigger the ones you expose, the stronger your understanding is going to be of how you're going to need to move in the world and reflect the higher consciousness into the world. And there's just no way you can plan that out. And whatever is preventing us, it's like it won't even. It's hard to explain it, but it won't even know we exist, really, because it can't see that. That which is preventing us can't see what we're doing, because it doesn't have the capacity to tune into it, because it simply thinks that what it's doing is the right thing, And that just keeping it at a very low level of consciousness. It's only going to see the lowest level of anything. That's all it ever sees anyway. Money, status quo, and sex and power. I mean, that's all it sees. So that it's not going to see the deeper things. And by the time it's able to even realize what's going on, it's going to already be too late. And that's how it works. That's how it works when you do it this way. This is different than anything's ever been done in the past. This is a collective spread that's going to seep into the collective. And it's going to be too late. They're going to be like frogs immersed in slowly heated water. By the time the frog realizes it's boiling to death, it's too relaxed to get out of the. It's a terrible thing to say for a vegan. It's a bad analogy, but it's just one of those old analogies, that you use. If you heat it up too quick, they jump out right away. But to see it in a positive way, it's like your little ego. I mean, once it's heated up slowly, before you know it, it's too relaxed anymore to fight, and it just surrenders to the greater good, And that's how it's going to work. That's how this collective thing is going to come through, and it's going to start transforming even things that appear to be now barriers to us. That's my vision. I mean, if you want to open up an SRM level of vision of what Jamin does with his SRM, this is what I see with my accelerated collective evolution. It's going to seep in like that into the cracks of society in a really tricky way. And not in a way we're going to be able to plan or even see, because it's being evolved right now, even through the great mother energy that's growing through all of us right now. I mean, it's even that's evolving through all of us. So it's cutting edge. We don't know where it's going to go, but there are ways to tune into it, and that's what we're developing, all of us here, and we're going to all become masters at it, and spread it. And that's just the inner support for whatever on the outside is going to be needed to do with the SRM and just to maintain our veganism and the collective intelligence that we're going to use when interacting with people out there that do have power that eventually will become interested. Where we have to get collectively intelligent. Those people are wise already in a collectively intelligent way, or they wouldn't be so where they're at and in control of so many resources the way they are. It's just that they've been instructed wrongly in how they do it and how they go about it, because they're misusing their power in one way or another, even the best of them. Or they'd already be connecting with this. They'd already be tuning into something like this, and they're not. So something about them is preventing them. So it's not what's preventing us, it's what's preventing what's out there from joining this, because this is in the bigger picture, this is what works, not the other way around. It's just, we've been taught that it's the other way around, and we're the weirdos, and we don't work, but that's not the truth. Because anybody with a heart who's participating in this stuff has already got solid evidence that this is a gas and this is the stuff that works. And it's also really intelligent too. It's not just some party where we go yee-haw and then we're exhausted. No, we go yee-haw and then we go, let's see how we can apply it. It's a whole different way of using that kind of energy. Yeah. It's like we get high and then we get to get creative.
Well, and what you're pointing out is what you just said, is that the biggest thing about everything, greater than even artificial intelligence or being vegan, whether that's a noun for you or a verb, or solar radiation management, is reflection, spiritual reflection. All that you're talking about, this consciousness awakening is reflection.
Mm-hmm. You got it, Miles. That is absolutely correct. And you will reflect whether you want to or not with this kind of stuff, because there's something in you that's awake now. Your essence has been touched, and it's going to be making its action will cause reflection. Other words for it are self-observation, self-remembering, mindfulness, self-arising meditation spontaneously in nature. There's all kinds of, but yes, it will. Or just contemplating on various, thought capsules about different, things you see about the world, but doing it in a way that's very different than you may have done it before.
I just wanted wanted to say that I feel like we've already been experiencing it today, just through setting the intention. I'm going to just call it the intention meditation. I felt like all of a sudden we were all reflecting as one, it became very nimble, and we were able to kind of flow through ideas very quickly, and the energy was moving quickly,
Mhm.
and it actually felt like it came through here specifically. Anne's idea has inspired us. We're going to go on Friday and wear these T-shirts to the protest that's going on here, and it's just going to happen. It's just now happening.
It is so happening. Oh my goodness.
It is so cool.
And we all come back with our pictures and share those on our social media and at the next Zoom conference or meeting here.
And beloveds, I must bid you all sweet adieu. I hope whatever I've shared today has touched you in just the right kind of way, because you're all touching me in the right kind of way. Just in your, in the feeling I get into when we're a collective, and I feel all of you. So that's a very beautiful thing for me. I get off on that.
Dharmendra, you have changed all of us. You've changed the world. You've changed the course of history with this meeting. We all have. And
that's right.
This is intelligence.
Keep adding that we all have in there, because that's my intent.
That's it. That's it.
Yes, I might be the brilliant little scintillating middle point, but without everything else. And soon we're all going to be able to change places and be the middle point, to the point where the middle point is and the circumference is, and it's all just as, and so it doesn't really matter anymore. Get what I'm saying?
Well, it took all of us. If any one of us were not here, it would have been totally different. It took, this is collective intelligence. All the pieces of the puzzle are here.
Well, I think really it was Anne's fault. She started this one this time, and then Miles came in and just killed it. So, we're hopeless after that, all of that.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Blame it on the women.
Yeah, but and though it's the platform, Jane started a long time ago, because it's all just one cause and effect. Like I wouldn't be here if we hadn't said, no, I think we need this platform. And I wouldn't have been, Stuart Scott might not be anybody to me at all, my tuning in to share and to come in here with whatever I brought from that experience is just a big, it's just a big sharing economy that we're experiencing here, and it's rippling. We're just bouncing off of each other over time.
Totally. And I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Evan. Evan wouldn't be here if it weren't for his brother Nolan. And because Evan told me, Jamin, veganism, don't forget vegan. And I just said, okay. Oh, it was like a sign. He was like Moses. And so I just went to Arizona, and that's where I met Dharmendra in person, Benjamin, Anne, goodness, so many amazing folks. And that's collective intelligence was born. So it's literally all of us. We're just totally just bouncing.
As Lao Tzu would say, the Tao created the one created the two created the three, and watch out, the three creates the 10,000 things. So it's from this point on, forget about it.
That's it. And we've got the big three. Great things come in threes, like you were saying, Dharmendra. Veganism, collective intelligence, SRM. Those are the three, the three vertices of the golden vegan triangle.
And love you all, and even those who I've just met, I love you just as much as everybody else. And gate parakate parasamgate bodhisvaha. I'm out of here until the next meeting, whenever that may be.
And love you, Dharmendra. Love you all so much. Oh my goodness.
Bye.
Love you. Love you. Ah.
Yeah.
If multiples of us are going to do this theme, should we just do our thing and then share photos and come up with something, or should we come up with something collective before we do that? Like exactly, I don't know.
Yeah, I could see both things being, both ways being beneficial. One, if we each come up with something separately, then we can talk about what worked and what didn't on 3 different ideas, or test one idea across multiple markets? I don't know.
Is it another base camp project or a survey item?
I say definitely vegan reflection.
Yeah.
What ties it all together?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Jamin, we were on a short email thread with Silas and Ray talking about, how we talk about SRM, and I think this answers that thread for sure, and it involves creating a new group, and we'll be the Vegan Reflective.
Yeah. Or because it's separate from Vegan Collective Intelligence, or is it? I don't know.
Oh, that's a really good question. I say let it be part and parcel. Let it be kind of like our new campaign. It's a campaign of Vegan Collective Intelligence. That's what it really is.
It does feel like a campaign, and we're still going towards the Federation of Coastal Communities, and maybe there's another campaign we can start. It's one of 100 that we can start moving forward on.
Lots to reflect on.
Yeah, and I don't want to forget the thinking, the reflecting. I mean, the idea of having 10 people in a single city sitting and reflecting, wearing, so I don't want to forget that, Jamin. I think that is a really interesting idea.
Well, see, here's the cool thing. In any American city, you've got thousands of vegans, if not tens of thousands, right? Any American city. And vegans love other vegans, right? It's like, I always honk and wave when I see another vegan, driving down the street. I'm just kidding. But I mean, it's like, so it's like if they see Vegan Reflection, let's say I don't care if it's 1 out of 20 people walking by in downtown San Francisco, they're going to stop and say, yo, high five, vegan. Dude, what's this reflection thing all about? I'm vegan too. What's up with reflection? And boom. I mean, veganism it's like the gateway to this. And that's what Evan really clued me into. Evan, I hope you're still there. If so, just turn on your video and bow or something, at least, unless you're on the toilet, in which case you're already bowing. But it's like the vegans, veganism is the gateway. It's like vegans are like pre-qualified. We get it. I'm almost there vegan wise, but like Miles, I'd be a hypocrite if I called myself 100% vegan already.
We're going to get you there, Jamin. We're going to get you there.
We're getting me there totally. Just like that Woody Allen movie, Take the Money and Run, when he was in the chain gang and they're like hauling him over the wall. I'm like Woody Allen. We're all tied together. Thank you, Evan. Evan bows to us. And so it starts with vegan reflection. Just the sentence itself starts with vegan, goes to reflection, and the double entendre of reflection. Bam, bam, that's it. But vegan is like the core thread, right? It's like vegans taking veganism to the next level, vegan reflection.
So how quickly, I guess, do we want to try and get a website or at least a placeholder up for this Friday? Even if it's just like a landing page where it links to Radish and Climate Healers. I'm not sure. I guess it depends on.
So the question, the question, Jamin, is that several of us are going to go to Climate Strike events on Friday. Mine is at 11 o'clock Eastern time. And I'm going to either have a t-shirt or a sign, probably a sign, made out of a blanket, an emergency blanket, that will say, Vegan Reflection, it's brilliant. Do I just say that, or do I say veganreflection.org or .net or whatever? And it's Tuesday night. So
Yeah,
we've got
yeah.
Wednesday and Thursday to do this because, you know, I mean, I've got to leave by 10 o'clock Friday morning to be there on, right. So, I mean, we've got 2 days to decide. And I think the simplest way for me to accomplish this by Friday is to buy a piece of cardboard and a blanket and staple the blanket to the cardboard and print out the words vegan reflection. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
And
I say let's do veganreflection.org. I'm happy to get the website, and if somebody will volunteer to putting even just links. You got it, Benjamin? Okay, so I'll plug you in there, give you the DNS or whatever, and then we can just put some links there and just our basic thesis, which we can definitely come up with by Friday. So I say yes, confidently. You can put vegan reflection and then a smaller .org. You can say like vegan reflection and then a tinier .org at the end of it, because the message is
got it.
Yep. Right? And we can also work on that kind of like a logo, a simple just font logo kind of thing, right?
And we can certainly talk. I mean, for people who ask, if anyone does, we can certainly talk about SRM. We can certainly, whatever. I don't know how many people will be at these. I don't know. I know that the Department of Art and Culture is putting out a big move to get people to these events Friday. At least that's how I heard about it. And there are many, like I said, like 7 locally, except they're all at between 11 and 12. So you couldn't go to more than one of them because you can't get back and forth between the places. But I think it's a brilliant move to start. It will take some time to build momentum, but I think starting on Friday, and if we're doing it on both coasts, people taking pictures, and if our stuff will be unique, and I think it'll get out there, and it won't be huge, but I think it'll get out there. So I think it's cool.
No, I think vegan reflection, it's brilliant, right? And then it'll just be a magnet for the vegans. And of course, the vegans are going to come up and say, hey, what's up? High five, Kinta Kunte, give me a hug. And now that we've hugged, what's the reflection thing, right? And compare that with disruption. The way Dharmendra and I met, where we met the first time was right at the tail end of the Vegan 2026 conference when a bunch of us went and did a disruption at the Golden Corral restaurant.
Yep. I remember when he walked up.
Yeah. And it was like, the disruption, it generated a lot of hatred, right? I have so much love and respect for people who do disruptions. I'm just thinking this is a way that it's all about love. We're not disrupting anybody. We're just putting our message out there.
Oh, we are disrupting. We're just doing it in a very different way.
Yeah.
It is a disruption, Jamin. It is a disruption to get people to think without being defensive. So many of these other ways, and I don't think we should stop any of the others, but the vigils, the protests, the restaurant and grocery store disruptions are in your face and engender people to be defensive. This makes people curious. What is that? What is vegan reflection? It's brilliant. What are you talking about?
And it'll be the most brilliant sign. The sign is so simple because it's just reflection.
Yes. And it's, I mean, I have said, I think every freaking week, I need to find a way to bring some humor into this. Like I need a happier, all of these things are so overwhelming. The amount of death, the amount of torture, the amount of disease, the amount of destruction, like it's all true and it's overwhelming. And this is a way, that doesn't negate any of that, but it gives us a path forward in which there's something positive to move toward instead of something horrific to move away from. And again, getting people to be curious and ask a question instead of hiding behind, I'm not going to change the way I eat. my family's always blah, blah. I mean, you can go, you know, my religion says, the Bible says, this doesn't do any of that. This does none of it. It offers a pathway in. There's a much further distance to go. I'm not pretending this is the panacea, but it's a pathway in that is positive. And I cannot tell you how grateful, how happy, how, you know, like I'm gonna cry in joy about finally finding a single pathway that's positive.
Woo! The singularity is here. And by the way, I just thought of another thing that can go really well that can complement the sign. Get an umbrella and then put that same material, you know, an umbrella hat, and put it that same reflective material, because that basically, it pokes fun at ourselves and says, yeah, we're crazy, but we're crazy for a reason, right? You know, it's like, oh, the vegans are going to come to us. And by the way, at these climate protests, look, if I don't know what, 2-3% of the population is vegan, at these protests, it's going to be probably north of 10%. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 20. And so 20% of the crowd coming to you saying, high five, vegan brother, hallelujah, what's up? And what's that all about? I mean, we're going to have a swarm around us, and they're going to say, where do I get my reflective vegan? You know, it's just going to become this thing. It's going to be the new, I don't know, pick your favorite viral brand, right? It's going to be the new, help me out here, the new iPhone, right? You know?
So who's going to sell this stuff for us?
We will. We'll sell it on the website, and all the proceeds will go to supporting the movement. And you know,
cool.
And the commune. Let's build a commune. Let's sell a gazillion of these and build a commune, and we'll all have tiny houses. And
or we do 1,000,000 miles of SRM, and it says, you know, the base says vegan reflection.
Yeah.
We fund some of the mirrors or whatever they are exactly. I get
too much reflection off my bald head. I'll put my cap back on.
Your head is brilliant, Miles.
That's it. I don't need tinfoil on my head. But hey, look what I found here. Here's my, I don't know, you got St. John's ambulance down there in the United States? It's a first aid organization here in Canada anyway. So I'll do an unboxing, is that what we call it? So I'm opening up the first aid kit and digging around. What do I find? I got the different kinds of bandages, and I have splints, or I got a mask here for doing artificial respiration. Now, somewhere I did see one of these blankets. Now, what the hell happened to it? I just saw it. Where did it go? Okay, I'm turning off the mic.
So now that I'm thinking about it, if we buy a domain...
You found it.
Oh, you found it.
I found it. So this is what it looks like. It's got emergency rescue blanket written right on it. So let's open it up and see just how big is it.
Have we talked about the fact that it's called an emergency rescue blanket, and we're like, we have an emergency rescue solution too?
Oh my God, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So it's not a double entendre. It's going to be a triple or a quadruple or I mean, because we're only getting started here, right? Oh my God. Oh my God. Emergency relief for the planet.
That's right. An emergency blanket for the planet. Baby, we're coming up with all kinds of amazing stuff here. Melissa's back, and we're going to have a party. Miles just broke out his emergency blanket, and that's it. Oh my goodness! See, that's it. It's that simple, right? And we can get these. So this Friday is going to be climate protest. We'll be here in San Francisco. Baby, we came up with a name. It's called, listen to this, Vegan Reflection.
I love it. I was here when
Oh, okay, awesome. Look at Miles. He looks like he's straight out of Star Wars. Brilliant. And we're going to make costumes, right? We'll have the Gandhi, the Mahatma Gandhi version. We'll have the Mexican poncho version.
Is this for the vegan side?
Yeah, well, there's a whole, and then Miles also has reflective
foil tape. I also have this plumber's foil tape. You could use this to stick pieces of the solar reflective material.
We use that to tape it together.
Solar reflection, SRM. Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Vegan reflection, and so
you have your umbrella too.
Yeah, we've got a reflective umbrella, but check it out, sweetheart. I just showed everybody this image. We're gonna also make these umbrella hats. So let's order some stuff, so we can go to this climate protest on Friday. We're all gonna go. Anne's leading the way. She said, "Well, I'm doing this on Friday," and that kind of forced everyone into now mode, right?
Huh. Where is that around the world? The protests?
I think so.
I think so. There's one here.
Yeah, it's every week. It's the future Fridays for
it's Fridays for
Future.
Yeah.
So, but that's interesting. The Department of Arts and Culture. I don't know if you guys know about the Department of Arts and Culture, but it's a made up thing. They started maybe 3 or 4 years ago. A group of artists got together and said the United States does not have a Department of Arts and Culture because we just don't. Other countries do. So this group of citizens started the Department of Arts and Culture, and I will do my best to find something. But they are very much now into using art to bring people's consciousness level about a whole bunch of things: Indigenous people, climate change, a whole bunch of things. They're not really vegan, so we need to connect with them and work with that. And I'm coming up with this huge list of other organizations that we need to connect with, and I got to think that through and try and figure out what that all means. But I don't know. I'm getting punchy. It's 8:30. I'll quit. Sorry.
Have that in Seattle, the Office of Arts and Culture. I don't know if it's the same.
No, the Department of Arts and Culture. I actually think that I don't remember anymore. I think that their headquarters is somewhere near Washington, D.C. But they're all over the country. There are not pop-ups, but regional offices that they have been developing over the past several years. I just found it to be a really fascinating thing because it's very progressive, but based in art and using art meaning, poetry and visual arts and movement arts and all sorts of things. So I'll find some information. I'm on their mailing list, but I haven't done much with them recently. But I got this email this week about joining a climate strike, and that was the first time that they've been promoting climate strikes. And there was a link to find one near you, and they made it really, really easy. So I'll try and find it and get it back to you guys.
Thank you. That'd be awesome. Yeah, it's a different group than Office of Arts and Culture. The Seattle Office of Arts and Culture are focusing on social justice, not so much environmental justice yet.
And then consider one of our items. See, we're going to sell these on the website, sweetheart, veganreflection.org. And one of them will be this spherical reflective costume, right? And look, this is the frame for it. And then we'll cover it with that reflective material. It's going to be really simple. It's like assemble it at home. We'll just send you the kit. The frame itself probably collapses. But look at the caption, the ability to destroy a planet is, that's obviously like a Death Star kind of thing, right? The ability to destroy a planet is foiled by vegan reflection.
I have an image to share.
Pardon me?
I have an image to share.
Share away. Foiled by vegan reflection. Look at that. Yeah, baby. What's up?
That's a little more sophisticated than a bubble, I have to say.
Well, look, we're going to have different options.
Yeah.
We're going to have
You can wear the bubble. It looked really great on you.
Thank. Well, I've already got a bubble.
Yeah,
built in. I just need silver
You
spray
can
paint.
silver leeches.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow.
Oh my God.
I've never felt better about being fat.
Maybe we could all just wear reflective
See,
sunglasses.
there's the thinker right there. There's the thinker. That's it.
What about Elton John size glasses that have silver foil?
Well, see, here's the thing. We're gonna buy Nolan's silver costumes in bulk and just put vegan reflection on it. Veganreflection.org. It's brilliant. See, that's gonna be the slogan. It's brilliant. Remember, like beer during the World Cup? Brilliant. Anyway, it's brilliant.
Yeah. So Jamin and Melissa, we really do need to take a look at the U.S. Department of Arts and Culture, because here's their little tagline. It's a people-powered department, a grassroots action network inciting creativity to shape a culture of empathy, equity, and belonging. Learn more about the USDAC and read our statement of values, then join this act of collective imagination. So I just think we need to, try and connect with them around this issue. And like I said, I don't think that they are vegan, but that means there's a whole bunch of people that could be.
Yeah, that's great. How did you find them?
So I've been involved in a number of peripherally artistic change methodologies, including World Cafe and the art of hosting and social presencing theater and a number of things that I think are extremely helpful that have very much been on the sidelines. And when this started, I somehow got on their mailing list. And so I like keep up with them, but there is not anyone locally that I've been able to work with and keep the momentum going. And so I'm always kind of on the fringe of doing these things. And I think this group might be the way in to use a whole lot more of it, because I think that arts do help us to see things in a completely different way. And they have gained a great deal of momentum as time has gone on. So
I looked them up. That's awesome. And then there is this artist in Florida. Her name is Alessandra Arnolfini. You met her with me.
Yes.
And she is doing incredible work, a lot around politics and social justice. I know she was arrested recently down on the Mexican-US border. She does artful activist projects that are brilliant.
And they go viral.
And she gets local community to make her signs for her. And she's facing indictment charges. So we're all trying to get her out of that. But she's worth looking up.
And what's her last name?
It's Alessandra. I'll have to go on my Facebook.
Okay, that's fine. Well, yeah.
Arnolfini, something like that. Alessandra. I'll look it up.
I'll Google her also. See what I can find.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to step off pretty quick here, guys.
You can buy this blanket for $1.95 Canadian. So in US dollars, that's even cheaper. No. And it's 30 square feet. It's 5 feet by 6 feet.
And where can you buy it?
Well, just Google emergency rescue blanket. You'll get all sorts of.
I think Home Depot and Target should have them.
Do you have Alison?
I'm pulling up her name.
They weren't $1.95. They were like $30. But hey,
And this is tough. Really tough material.
And
$1.95 from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
And could you re-mention the Department of, again, the Arts?
No, I've got it. She typed it all in. We
Okay,
got it, sweetheart.
cool.
Yeah.
U.S. Department of Arts and Culture. Okay.
And the website is just above that, Melissa, usdac.us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's just not an actual U.S. department. It's something made up.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Nice.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yes, Doc. Us.
I'm going to have to pop up, but I really enjoyed my first meeting with you all, and I love you all so much from the jungles of Nepal. I'll be in Nepal through January, so next time I will still be early, but I will get out of my PJs and join you visually as well.
Get out of your PJs and put on the silver. Foiled again. The ability to destroy a planet is foiled again.
Thank you.
It's awesome. I do have it in my first aid kit that I brought with me here.
Well, just wrap yourself in it and
So I am going to start my Wednesday, and you have a great sleep. I'm 13 hours ahead. So I'm trying to figure out how I can do a climate strike movement from the jungle.
What you're doing for the
Thank you, Annette.
thank you, Annette.
so important.
There is power in one, Annette. One is powerful.
Thank you so much, Anne.
Well, I think you're like long lost sisters or something.
They have the same name.
Separated at birth.
Namaste.
Namaste, and thank you, Annette. Thank you, Anne. I know you both need to get off. Further proof that you're separated at birth. You're totally synced. And wow. Oh my
All right.
goodness.
Good night, you guys. So I'll hear from you guys tomorrow.
Love you, love
Damon
you, love
and
you, love you.
Melissa.
We'll see you tomorrow.
And
Whoever can make it,
we'll,
7 a.m. Pacific. The party will continue.
all right.
Love, love,
Good
love,
to
love,
see
love,
you,
love, love.
Anne and Annette. Blessings.
All right. Love you guys.
Love
Have
you.
a good one.
Love you both.
Good
Love
night.
you all. Oh my goodness.
Mark does make a good point that we're recommending buying plastic.
Well, look, this gets back to the law of unintended consequences. You know, SRM in the ocean is going to have some unintended consequences. I'm sure some fish is going to bump into it and stub its nose, you know, and worse. But I mean, it gets back to the, you know, hey, please don't douse my burning house with fire because I'm afraid you're going to get my mattress wet, right? Ma'am, the kids in the attic are dying. You know, I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, I have a proposal then. Well, it's a suggestion. Well, it's an idea. It's a wondering idea. Each one of us could come up with our own idea about SRM, because those of us who don't want to use plastic, that's me, even to burn rubber, we could make our own upcycled, you know, banners, posters that promote SRM. So let's be creative about it and figure out a lot of different ways we could talk about this. Some people can wear the reflective costumes. Like, I don't want to wear one of those stupid hats, sorry. That won't be me. But I'm down with doing something cool with, you know, upcycled materials. You know, maybe we could write social management out of upcycled plastic bottles or something.
Well, don't forget that this is a life-saving device too. Like it's not just you know, you don't just use it for your Fridays for Future campaign, but you also put it away in case you need it. Somebody that's suffering from hypothermia. So you know, maybe plastic, but or whatever it's made out of.
That's a good point.
But it's got a life-saving purpose. And you know, incidentally, my wife was giving me hell because I kept this big box we got our bed in. And I said, I think I can use this someday. She's like, just chop it up and throw it into recycling. And, you know, this thing measures 5 by 6 feet. So a box from a bed mattress box would be the perfect foundation to, you know, tape this on, and then you've got your sign, and then put vegan, #vegan reflection. Is that what we're going with?
Vegan reflection, that's it.
I mean, you could build a whole little pavilion out of that cardboard box, you know, and cover it in silver foil.
So I don't know how I'm going to get this bed box downtown, but I will. I guess I could take the minivan.
You know,
Should fit.
Panels and screw the bits together or something, so you can make it demountable, and then you erect it when you're down there.
And then, you know, you can use this thing, again, not only if I was wearing this reflective suit or smock, and I also have one that's spread off over this cardboard box from the bed mattress, then I can shine it up at the Suncor offices. Suncor is one of the largest tar sands companies. You know, they say, what the hell's going on down there? This big mirror reflecting the sun up into our eyes here. Yeah. And there's other oil companies too. I could shine it up at them.
I love how disruptive you are in this creative way. That's fabulous.
Wow. Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say goodnight myself. I'm pushing the limit here when somebody's going to say, what are you doing? You got work to do around here. This and that, chore. So anyway, I will bid you good night, and maybe we'll see you in base camp as we put together the campaign for Friday. And we'll see how. I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot of fun.
And we're meeting tomorrow on the Federation of Coastal Communities tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time, same time that we normally start the social club tomorrow. So if you want in, we'll let everybody know.
Terrific. Okay, guys.
Love you, Miles.
Love you too. Take care.
What an amazing day, everybody.
Yeah.
Whew, what a long day. I think we might have actually earned a break at this point.
Yeah, we have a plan. We have action steps. Yeah.
Totally. We finally consolidated it down.
I was going to say earlier, if we want to get a website up, we got to act on it now, because it takes a couple days for that DNS to populate and for that URL to actually start working.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll get it tonight and get you the DNSs, and we'll take it from there.
I think we have. Do we have some hosting?
Oh, yeah.
We
could switch out a site and host it on a plan that we have right now.
Yeah, at least temporarily until we figure
We have
out.
another month of hosting, or like 3 weeks, so that'll get us started.
Cool. Awesome.
Have you got us already a site for making the website?
We've got the URL identified. I just have to purchase it and then send the DNSs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually paying for this. I think it's not Weebly. It's the other one.
Do you have a Wix site? Is that what you have? Wix?
Yeah, and I'm not using it, so I don't know if we want to use it, Occupy or not.
That's what we have another couple weeks that we aren't using right now too.
So we can talk about it then.
Yeah.
Awesome. Woo. Oh, wow. All righty. Well, I think we got our work cut out for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Can I just read something before we all go bye-bye?
Yeah.
Okay, I just gotta find this. Give me a second. I'm sorry. In the early 1990s, when I first wrote these essays, I was pulled by a powerful call from the trees to listen, to hear their stories, to be in their presence. I didn't know where the call would take me, but I trusted my intuition to follow. I was led to many ancient and grand beings who offered unforgettable experiences of communion. I also had to face difficult questions and troubling concerns that arose in the company of trees. Since that time, a number of trees I wrote about have perished in dramatic but completely natural ways. These individual stories reflect changing conditions for trees and forests throughout the west coast of North America. In the last few decades, droughts have become more severe and drawn out, snapping even sturdy trees under water stress. Forest fires are burning hotter and more erratically, jumping canyons and fire lines faster than they can be contained. All these impacts are tied to climate change and the steady warming of the planet. It is true that forests have changed radically under earlier periods of climate change, but today's levels of greenhouse gases are the highest in forest history, and this round of climate change may prove to be shocking beyond our prediction. In the midst of all this, it is heartening that so much more is known about the hidden life of trees. With climate change accelerating and national politics precarious, the future of the planet is at stake in frightening ways. Global warming has forced feedback systems in soils and forests into overdrive, and pollution from atmospheric carbon continues to rise. As forest cover shrinks due to cutting and earth development, forest species are disappearing all over the world. All the best efforts in conservation biology and ecological restoration have not kept up with the economic and social pressures of the forests. So he's saying, and this is a book I just found called Conversations with Trees. It just flew right off the shelf at me today. In this context, what can a book such as this offer in today's world? How can a book make a difference against the relentless, destructive forces that seem to be taking the planet into a dark time? I see this writing as a call for reflection.
Oh my goodness!
That when I read that word, I was like, I gotta get this book. As an invitation to intimacy, being with trees is a return to soul, an offering of refuge. Voila.
Beautiful. Thank you, sweetheart. Oh, wow. Wow. I'm just so happy. Just so delighted.
Yeah, I don't remember who was, what was it, Fred? I think Fred was talking about leaving these meetings feeling overwhelmed. And I wonder if he would feel the same way if he had stayed all the way to the end of the last meeting. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, he can watch the recording.
Who is that?
Fred Katz.
Oh, Fred.
Yeah, our Fred.
Because I've been feeling, I'm inspired at the end of these meetings, and I want everyone else to be inspired too. And
Well, as we get more creative and start actually taking action and making things and doing things, I think that it will be like a fire that, just catches. And,
yeah, totally. I really, the vegans are now just the front door. It's like they're pre-qualified. right? Like those stupid credit card offers. They're pre-qualified, right? I think we can recruit vegans en masse. Beautiful. Shall we give ourselves a break? Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to pop off. If you guys want to hang.
We'll see you guys tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We're ready to hop off too. Mark, I did want to just see what you thought about it, but we could chat about this different, at a different
Here,
time
let me stop the recording, and I'm just gonna